Welcome to the Tennessee Performing Arts Center's Inside Out podcast. Today, we celebrate our Spotlight Award recipients. The Spotlight Awards are presented with Lipscomb University's College of Entertainment and the Arts and are dedicated to honoring the talents, friendship, and educational endeavors of high school theater students in Middle Tennessee. Today, we celebrate high school musical theater and our Spotlight Award recipients from 3 Tennessee schools. But first, let's hear from Cassie LaFevor. Cassie is the Director of Education Enrichment and the Director of the Spotlight Awards ceremony. Cassie, tell us about the Spotlight Awards.
The program was created by Lipscomb University's Dean of the College of Entertainment and the Arts, Mike Fernandez. He created the program 7 years ago. At that time, it was just a regional program. It was not connected with the Broadway League, so they were not sending students to the Jimmy Awards. A few years ago, Mike Fernandez approached our CEO at the time, Kathleen O'Brien, and we created a partnership that allowed us to be part of this program and send our 2 lead recipients to New York every year to the Jimmy Awards for the national competition. Our program is really focused on creating community within the arts in our state, as well as encouraging, celebrating, and growing all of the arts in our schools.
And that partnership also allowed for us to host the Spotlight Awards at TPAC in Jackson Hall, which is a pretty amazing thing. Tell us about how the pandemic, COVID-19 has affected.
So this year we had 32 participating schools that started out with us in the fall for our kickoff event and have participated with us throughout the year in different workshops and events. However, in March, when schools had to close, only half of our schools had been able to perform and be adjudicated. So normally we send at least 3 judges to each school to see their musical, and we were able to do so with 15 of our 32 schools. 3 of our schools were able to submit videos that were adjudicated by Spotlight administration and still be eligible for some of the awards. The remaining schools were not able to be adjudicated, so we had to come up with other ways to keep them engaged. Luckily, all of our schools were able to have all-star cast and crew members and have outstanding lead nominees that were able to participate in our award ceremony and submit videos to be eligible for scholarships.
Yeah, we had a virtual award ceremony, and I guess the Jimmy Awards were canceled altogether, right, in New York?
They were canceled completely. So we provided scholarships that were given by Kraft CPAs. And we were very thankful to be able to provide those this year.
And we had a virtual ceremony. How can people watch it?
It is on TPAC's YouTube channel.
Excellent. So yeah, if you just go to YouTube and do a search for TPAC TV, you'll find all kinds of wonderful video programming that TPAC does. Let's meet our Spotlight recipients for this year.
Absolutely. We have 3 with us in our podcast today, the 3 that were able to get scholarships from Kraft CPAs. We have Jack Roden from Chattanooga Christian School, Lily Soto from Hume Academic High School, and we have Will and Kristin Butler from Hillsborough High School.
Excellent. So Lily, let's start with you. Tell us about the musical theater program at your school, which is Hume Academic High School, and your experience in Mamma Mia.
The Hume Theater Department is a very accepting and supportive community. I know that when I switched schools from the Franklin area to Nashville, one of the biggest things that I saw in not just only Hume but like in Nashville in general, that there's a lot more diversity and representation in the theater department, which was very exciting to me because not only was I meeting kids that loved theater and music and acting, performing, but I was meeting people who also looked like me and who also I got to see and kind of like relate with these people and become friends with. So that was one thing that was very exciting to me. And at Hume a lot of kids from different like sports or activities who don't really know theater or just like have never thought about it when we would do our previews or go see our shows. They were like, oh, I want to go audition. And then it's like a big fun thing, and you get to meet people from different sports or activities that you probably wouldn't meet in general, just because, you know, if you're in theater, you really like are just like in your theater community. So it's nice to see other people from, you know, different groups and have more friends. So that's what I really, really like about Hume Fog in general in our theater department. But for Mamma Mia was like my first lead role ever. So it was very exciting, but also I was very nervous and stressed out because I just wanted to make sure it was good. So but in Mamma Mia, it was just super fun because you're with your friends and they support you and you work on it together. My friend Virginia played my daughter, so she's like my best friend. So it was kind of like funny, but also like really just, you know, supportive. And yeah. And also the costumes were amazing too. So that was fun with our freaking like 70s go-go stuff on. But yeah.
So it was obviously an award-winning production. Did you know when you were creating it and as you were performing that it was good? Did you have a feeling that this was kind of a standout show?
I feel like for every show we kind of like get really nervous. We're like, oh my gosh, we want to make sure that this is a really good show. We want to, you know, everybody to have fun watching it and like relate to the story. And I mean, honestly, I don't start feeling like, I feel like when you have a show and like you start to put your costumes on and then everybody's starting to do like the full dress rehearsals, that's when you're really like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. Cause then you're like seeing everybody for the first time, like all full out. I mean, like that's usually when I feel something and I feel really like lucky to be here with these people and perform with them. And that's where I really feel, you know, excited and like, oh my God, I feel like this is a really good show, but you know, just depends on everybody else.
Do you feel like your castmates really affected your performance as well?
Oh yes, for sure. I feel like I try to feed off a lot of people's energy, especially when you're performing with someone or acting. Because if they're giving you the same level of energy as you are, then it's like just so much fun to do, especially when I would do a lot of my yelling scenes and screaming at people, which I felt really bad about, but it's okay. um, those were really fun, yeah.
That's the fun part of acting, right?
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Jack, let's hear from you. So you go to Chattanooga Christian Academy, or have you graduated? Did you graduate? Were you a senior this year?
Yeah, I actually graduated this Saturday.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
Congratulations!
Thank you. It was very strange to.
Well, tell us about the musical theater program there and about your production of Newsies.
Yeah, so I've kind of grown up in my theater program at my school. I've been going there since I was in second grade, so I was 7, and I started off in one of their summer camps. It was Aristocats Kids. I played Hepcat, my most prided role. No, but yeah, I've just seen the program grow, and there's never really been a day when I haven't felt really loved, and like everyone there just has a lot of respect for one another, even outside the theater program. Like we all respect our athletes, our students, whatever extracurriculars they choose to do. But yeah, we all just want to create really good art at CCS, and it really shows, especially in Newsies this year. I've never really felt closer to a cast before, and I've done, you know, a ton of shows. I've been going there since I was like for 10 plus years. So but this show especially, I just feel, especially losing it, because my school didn't get to perform this year, but the fun part kind of already happened, like getting to know each other, learning the show, getting to know these characters, the choreography, all the music. Even if we didn't get to perform, I feel like that's just a bonus. So we really learned this year especially to just value each other and like every second we have. Yeah, it's a really good place. I'm gonna miss it a lot.
Well, so tell us a little bit about that process of, I think Lily, you were a senior this year also. You've also graduated. And what was your experience like this year, in this sort of pandemic year where things closed down? Lily, you were actually able to perform your show, right? And Jack, you weren't. And I'd love to hear from Cassie too about how he was able to, still be a recipient of the award. How did you see him perform and adjudicate his performance? But I'd love to hear from you two as students, during this time. How did it affect your graduation, your school year?
Lily, you wanna?
I would since our musical that we for Mamma Mia was in the fall. We have 2 musicals. We have one in the fall and the spring. So the ones that we usually do for Spotlight, we do our fall musicals. So we were lucky enough to perform that one, and then we were also still able to perform our spring one as well. But we actually, because of the tornado, we almost didn't have it, even though right along with COVID coming up. So I couldn't imagine like students not putting on their show. I feel like it's just so much, you put so much effort and work into it. It's just, it's just a little sad, but I think being able to be with people and stuff and like perform and hang out and talk and just talk about daily life with people, it's just really sad. But for graduation, we had a drive-through graduation, which I actually liked a lot better than a regular graduation because you don't have to sit in the chair and you just don't. It was kind of like what's those thing with like football and like they have like the tailgates? That was what it felt like. We were at a tailgate. Everybody had their signs and everybody's cars were decked out, and like we all kind of went up to the school and like went on a line. And we just waved at all our teachers, and I started crying. And I was like, oh my gosh. But that was my graduation experience. I honestly had a lot of fun. I mean, I wish I could like give everybody a hug, but it was good. Yeah.
Did you still wear a cap and gown?
Yes, we still had our cap and gowns on. Everybody was dressed up. Everybody had their heels on, their dresses, their suits, whatever they wanted to wear.
For your graduation parade. That's great.
Yeah, and Kristin, awesome. Both Lily and Jack were affected by not only COVID, but by tornadoes as well, because we had tornadoes in Nashville right before COVID that shut down schools. And then after the quarantine started, Chattanooga got hit by a tornado. So it's been an interesting time.
Yes, it really has. We've faced a lot of trials, but yeah, so I didn't get to perform.
How far along were you in the rehearsal process?
We were literally 1 week away from opening. It was, the sad thing is, last year our show was a week earlier, and this year we had to push it back like 1 week. So if this was last year, we would have at least gotten through one weekend. But it's okay. I just remember the day that all the schools started shutting down. I was like, guys, calm down. Like, we're gonna get through at least one show. And then we were like circling up, and my director was like, all right. And yeah, it was tough. It was really sad, but that was like one of the most sad but also special days of my life, getting to do that one last time. And like all my parents and everyone's parents like ran to the school. We're like, we gotta catch the show before everything closes down. So it was crazy. But graduation was also very weird. We were on our football field. It was like a High School Musical kind of moment. all spaced out 6 feet. All the families were had one bleacher row. It was very short, but I'm really glad we had it. It was tough to get everybody there because of senioritis. We were all kind of done because we've been done for a month now, which is crazy. But it was nice to top it off.
Did you already have your diploma, and then you were doing a graduation ceremony?
No, we that Friday that everything closed, like I hadn't been to the school since then.
Oh,
Like, I didn't
wow.
even get to go get my like books or anything. So it was very strange. I still have my script. Like I still have to get things back. But yeah.
Wow. So Cassie, now we understand the adjudicators were able to go to Hume Fog, obviously, because their show was in the fall. But how did you adjudicate Jack's performance?
So 3 schools were able to submit videos because they videoed rehearsals. They were close enough
Oh, nice.
to their performance. Some of them had already recorded it because they do that in their regular process. But one of them, at least, maybe 2 of them, recorded it specifically because they thought that schools were going to be closing within that week. They were supposed to open their show the next week, and they were afraid that schools were going to close and they wouldn't get to do their show. So they recorded dress rehearsals that they could submit.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Well, Kristin and Will Butler, I want to hear from you as teachers. And your show received 5 awards. Your show of Catch Me If You Can at Hillsborough High School. Were you able to perform?
We were very fortunate because our performance dates fell right in between the tornado that struck Nashville on Tuesday morning. We opened on Thursday of that week, and we were panicked because we didn't think we would get to perform because schools were shut down. And typically the policy is if schools are shut down, all extracurricular activities are canceled. But we were also very fortunate because we were performing at Lipscomb University this year because Hillsborough has been under a renovation for the past 3 years, and they're renovating our auditorium. So we kind of had like a very special situation where we got to perform off campus in between a tornado and COVID.
And I guess Lipscomb hadn't closed their campus at that time.
No, they hadn't. Well, it was interesting because they were thinking about it that week. Like Vanderbilt had closed. They had already announced that they were going to close after spring break. I think it was on Wednesday, like our final dress rehearsal, we saw that. And we were like, oh, this is serious. If Vanderbilt's closing, like it's gonna, I guess, gonna happen. So, but yeah, Lipscomb hadn't closed at that point. So we really squeaked in like at the most opportune time among all of this craziness.
So you're both theater teachers there? Like the program is big enough and the school is big enough to have 2 theater teachers. That's amazing. Tell us about that and about the program in general. You say it's outstanding. What's outstanding about it?
I think for us, we really put an emphasis on developing the student not just as an actor or actress or technician, because we have a lot of technical theater students as well, but we really like teach them to grow and to learn skills that will help them, whether they stay in theater outside of high school or go on to other things. So for us, it's more about the process and less about the product. And I think we both are just very intentional with how we build our community, and we really try to develop relationships with all of our students, and they in turn develop relationships with each other. And yeah, what else?
I think as far as the community goes, we try to assemble a team of adults that are volunteers, parents, other teachers in the community, in our school community, that want to work with our students and to really teach them these real life skills. So we're able to model excellence in what we're doing. So, they're working with, an excellent lighting designer. If we don't have the skills for that, getting somebody in there that does, so that the kids get an opportunity to work, and also trying to teach them to be just good people. respectful people who will go out into the workforce and want to be hired because they are nice, and they, we don't let them get away with, being, trying to be divas, or, trying to say that, we try to teach them to be humble. And we started doing the Spotlight Awards the second year that it existed. I didn't know it existed the first year. And so the year we did Hairspray, that was the first year we participated, and that's back when it was just at Lipscomb. So we've been in the program for a really long time, and love the community that the Spotlight Awards builds, because I feel like it's pretty similar to the community that we have, like within our own like school dynamic.
And it's been really cool. Like our students have gone out to other Spotlight schools and seen their shows and developed friendships. I know several of our students are friends with Lily, and several of our students are fans of Jack, and talk a lot about how amazing he is in his videos that he puts on Instagram. So they really do. I think we've taught them to have a heart for the arts community,
and not that it's a competition.
Right. It's definitely not a competition to us, but more an opportunity to appreciate what everybody else is doing and the stories that they're telling and how they're telling it. And because I think, especially in theater, like it's such a small community in the big scheme of things. Like we want to have our students go out and do good in the theater community, and just remember that no matter where they go, they're still going to have to work hard and stay humble. And so, I think that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So talk to me, I'd like to hear from all of you about how your theater program affects the culture of your school. We'll start with you, Will and Kristin.
So for us, I think we've got students. So Hillsborough is interesting because we have the academies of Nashville. So we have 4 academies. We have the Freshman Academy, the IB Diploma Academy, a Business Academy, and Global Health Academy. So we've got students that are housed in all 4 of those academies that come and participate in the theater program. We've got athletes that come and participate. And I think that the theater really has, been embraced by Hillsborough. I guess 4 or 5 years ago, we started a sketch comedy show called Hillsborough Follies, which lovingly pokes fun at Hillsborough. And that was really a way to get students who not necessarily like to do plays and musicals, but like to make fun of their school, to get involved and participate. And so that opened up a whole new opportunity for
I think it built the relationship, like a bridge kind of between our theater program and the rest of the school. We like to try to incorporate other departments. So when we did Peter Pan, the play, several years ago, Tinkerbell's fairy language was sign language because Hillsborough is the deaf school for Metro. So we have deaf and hard of hearing students who go to Hillsborough. So we worked with our interpreters and were able to bridge that gap with the deaf community at Hillsborough. And our students in the program learned sign language, and we were able to perform for kids from elementary schools that were able to see representation of themselves on stage. So we try to sort of build our season around, kind of what the school needs right now, or what do our students need right now. And we're very, very intentional about the shows we pick and how we put the season together. It always has a theme. And we try to check the pulse of the school before we choose.
We are planning to do Frankenstein in the fall, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Probably
unfortunately.
not.
But we had already gotten the ELA teachers on board with teaching Frankenstein. So just kind of connecting theater to a wider range of students through literature. So we're not going to give up hope yet, hopefully we'll get to do it at some point, either spring or summer, if not this fall.
That's fantastic. So Lily, how does the theater program affect the culture of Hume Fog?
Well, specifically at Hume Fog, whenever we have a show, we actually the day of our last dress rehearsal, we at the end of the day at school, we have a preview, which is everybody in the whole school goes to the auditorium, and we will do like maybe a section of the musical that Mr. Bruce and Miss Forbes choose for us to do. And those are always fun because like that's the only time where we get to actually see all your friends at one place and you're performing in front of everyone, which is also very nerve-wracking as well. But always during the previews is when you really see the excitement of the students, or you really like as we're about to leave, as we get our little like intercom saying we need to leave, everybody's like, good luck, good job, you're gonna do so good, you guys are gonna do so good. And it's like it's very heartwarming. But especially for those because some kids just they don't know about the musicals that much, so when we do the previews they are more like, oh, this is so cool, I've never seen this before, especially for freshmen. And that's when more kids from different activities or sports will come out to the auditions, and just seeing people that you never would think could sing or could dance or act, like are just performing in front of everyone when we do our auditions. And it's so much fun. And I mean, I honestly, auditions are the best time, especially because that's when you get to see everybody. Like I remember I saw Josh, he's in the musicals now, but he was on the basketball team. I never really like saw him, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, Josh is auditioning. And everybody out of the way, he had like this whole voice, and we're like all getting so excited. And I mean, yeah.
That's fantastic. Jack, what about you? How does your school's theater program affect the culture?
I mean, just echoing both Lily and Will and Kristin. Like we do the same thing where we like to form a season around what our school needs, and we have a lot of crossover between extracurriculars. I remember like when I was in 8th grade, like half of the basketball team was on stage crew for us, and like we all just do everything, and we all support everybody at CCS, which is really fun to be a part of. And I have people come up to me in shows, like after shows, saying like, I remember you from 3rd grade when you were in Peter Pan, and I'm like, how? So it just leaves a mark on people. And we, like I said earlier, we just all have a lot of respect for one another, and we're all really excited for football games equally as much as we are for shows, equally as much as we are for robotics events. Like we go all out for everything, and it's just a lot of fun.
That's fantastic. Well, Jack, you won the award for Outstanding Lead Actor. Tell me what does it mean to you to win the Spotlight Award?
Yeah, so I just think about, I started doing the awards when I was in 10th grade, so 3 years ago, and it's just cool to know that Cassie and Jack and all of you guys have seen me grow, because it's been a crazy road. And just to my senior year, just to like be able to have that opportunity and the connections I've already made, like with Will Blum, we've been talking a lot. He's a really good guy, was the host. And just getting that opportunity to, and the platform to keep telling the stories that I want to tell, I think is just a dream come true. Honestly, it didn't look like we thought it would at the beginning of the year. But Cassie believed in me, and like everybody at my school was stuck together. And even if we're not going to New York, me and Lily aren't going to New York, this is like in a way more special, because I mean, virtual celebration it's just really empowering to see how the theater community has stuck together and like kept creating during this time,
Yes.
because it's been tough, but to see people doing like my choir did a virtual choir. I did an audio play this spring. We did a virtual Spotlight Awards. Like, we would not have thought that would be the case, but we stuck with it, and it means the world to me, honestly. It's amazing.
That's fantastic. Lily, you won Outstanding Actress. What does it mean to you to have won a Spotlight Award?
Honestly, I was very surprised. It was very surreal. I really, actually, when I first came to Hume Fog, I was too nervous to even audition, so I was almost not going to do it, and then last minute I decided to do it and go to the audition, and like, I don't know where I would have been if I didn't audition my freshman year. That's kind of crazy. I think it's just really overwhelming, I guess, just because I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I'm always overthinking a lot of the time about what I'm doing and how well I'm doing at something. So I think just over the years, I've really, with Mr. Bruce and Miss Forbes, they've really taught me just to have confidence in myself, which is something I've always struggled with. And I think, getting a Spotlight Award is like crazy. And like, it's like, oh my gosh, like what?
Validation there, yes.
Like, I think it just really shows me how much love I've had from Hume Fog and the people I've been around that helped me improve in myself and my confidence, and then acting and doing things that I never usually would do. I mean, winning the Spotlight or receiving the Spotlight Award was just, I mean, my dad took a video of me reacting, and you could tell that I was very excited by my screams, because I was just like, what? Oh my gosh. It was just nice just to be recognized for something like that.
That's fantastic. And Will and Kristin, Hillsborough received 5 awards. And tell me what the 5 were for.
So we received Outstanding Costumes, Outstanding Orchestra, Outstanding Technical Execution, Outstanding Direction, and Outstanding Musical. And we were floored. I mean, we've been doing the spotlights for 5-6 years now, and every year we're surprised and feel so honored with what we receive. But it's always, what's interesting is that it's always the thing, we always use the feedback that we get from the adjudicators, which I think for us, that is such a valuable part of doing the Spotlight Awards, because they really do give you good feedback on like things that you could improve on. And so we look at that, and like when we're working on the current musical, we're like, okay, well, last year they said this, this, and this, so let's try and tweak that or tighten that up, because we're constantly wanting to get better just as artists and teachers and as a program.
And we actually got nominated for some things this year that we normally get some like lower feedback on, like sound design or things that we've had challenges with. And then we're like, oh man, we're nominated. We've never been nominated for that. Mm-hmm. Or we won some things that we haven't won before that mm-hmm. we've really been trying to work on. So it's affirming, mm-hmm. I think, to show like, oh, like the other students were saying that we're not only are the students growing, but we're all growing as programs, as mm-hmm. teachers, as people. So it really is so educational, the whole experience.
Yeah, and for me with Catch Me specifically, I wanted to do Catch Me If You Can ever since I started working at Hillsborough. I had the privilege of going to the opening night and to the opening night party of Catch Me If You Can on Broadway, and I fell in love with it. And I probably just like the sensation of being around, Aaron Tveit and Norbert and Barry Butler, and rubbing shoulders with Matthew Broderick and Nathan Lane, and all of that like is just stuck in my mind. And so I wanted to do the show just because I had a connection with it. But then personally, like the story is about a father and a son, and a young man's need to have a strong father role model, which Frank gets in Hanratty. And I think the season of life that we were in with, she was pregnant and we knew we were having a boy. That whole story really resonated with us, and
we put a lot of heart into it, for sure.
And
it felt like more than just doing a musical, because we had a personal connection to it, and
I think the students and the design team really rallied around that idea, and that musicals, they're fun, they're splashy, song, dance, but they have a lot of heart. And I think when directors and actors and technicians can really find that, and find the true story behind the musical and can tell that story, it can have a huge impact. And it doesn't just have to be shows like Dear Evan Hansen or Hamilton, or these more modern musicals that touch on serious subject matter. But you can look at older musicals and find the heart of it, and I think that's what we do really well, and really conceptualizing and turning out a really strong production.
That's fascinating, and I think wonderful for the students, actually, and to take a deep dive into being a storyteller and not just an entertainer. I think that's fantastic. Congratulations to you all once again, and keep us posted on your shows coming up, please. Thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. TPAC Spotlight Awards are a partnership with Lipscomb University and supported by the Tennessee Arts Commission, the Metro Nashville Arts Commission, and the CMA Foundation. Special thanks to Kraft CPAs for providing monetary scholarships to our Spotlight recipients. TPAC is a nonprofit organization with the mission to lead with excellence in the performing arts and arts education, creating meaningful and relevant experiences to enrich lives, strengthen communities, and support economic vitality. You can find our podcasts on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and online. For more information or to support TPAC's mission, visit tpac.org.